Good day, everyone. Today we were talking about the lesson 10, sex and senses. Lesson objectives. When you finish reading this chapter, you should be able to discuss the human senses in the context of sexual response and show appreciation of how the sensorium contributes to our experience of human sexuality. Introduction. Sense of sight, visual, so that we are able to see visual stimuli, color, size, shape in the environment. Sense of smell, olfaction, so that we are able to experience scent. Sense of hearing or the audition, so that we are able to experience sounds of varying tones, pitches, and volume. The sense of taste or gustation, so that we are able to experience the taste, saltness, sweetness, bitterness, etc. of our food and other objects we put in our mouth. Sense of touch or feeling, so that we are able to have a tactile experience, heat or its absence, various texture, various physical pressure. So these five senses comprise our sensorium, the totality of our sensory experience and perception. So what is the relationship between sex and sense? So our five senses, hearing, sight, smell, touch, and taste, play a significant role in creating arousal and enjoying sex. When we were children, we were taught that there are five bodily organs, which corresponds to our primary senses that we use to explore and experience the world around us. So these five senses comprise our sensorium, the totality of our sensory experiences and perception. While we receive information from our environment through the senses, so our brain has the ability to organize and interpret these numerous stimuli into meaningful ideas that are useful for our choices or the behavior. Next is human affect and the senses. So interestingly, while human beings are hailed as rational beings who are constantly making choices and are behaving through a set of rational choices made from higher order thinking, evaluating, judging, it is hypothesized that our affect, emotions, and feelings actually play a major role in our behaviors. So, human affect and the senses. Human sensory reception means by which humans react to changes in external and internal environments. So the five senses may affect behavior of what we hear, see, taste, smell, and touch, can provide us with information on how to feel. The next one is affective primacy hypothesis. So Sajong 1980 postulates that in many cases, cognitive processing, higher and order thinking, plays a lesser role compared to our emotional responses in eliciting the behavior. So the affective primacy hypothesis, or from R.B. Sajong at 1980, asserts that positive and negative affective reactions can be evoked with minimal stimulus input and virtually no cognitive processing. The last part is, as part of our mechanisms for evolution, humans like us have three primary emotional responses. The first one is fight, the second one is flight, and the third one is freeze. A fight response is when we face adverse or dangerous stimuli squarely. A flight response is when we move away from the adverse of dangerous stimuli. A freeze response, on the other hand, is when you are startled and are unable to make a choice, thus are unable to move. So in short, the fight are facing treatment, facing threat aggressively, and the flight is your body urges to run from danger, and then the freeze is move or act against a threat. So three that's the three primary emotional responses of us, the humans.
Good day everyone, I introduce myself first. I am Daniel Cupino. Today I will discuss about the senses and sexuality. There are 4 senses and sexuality, but I will discuss only the 2 of these, which is the visual experience and olfactory experience. Senses and sexuality. Having provided an overview on how human affect the sensorium and the brain's limbic system coordinate, we are now ready to discuss how the various senses play in the human sexual response. First, visual experience. Human are predominantly, our societies highly rely on visual culture to create meaning and convey information. For instance, our language has a visual component. As observed from our writing system, example, walking down the streets, you will see a lot of signs which directs you what to do or not do. You will see signage placed on business establishment to tell you where to buy your groceries, ask for your medical help, or go to school. This only show that visual culture is an essential element of our society. It is only appropriate to utilize these visual cues since visual memory is them superior to other forms. Cohen 2008, it is assumed that at the average, when realized are presented visually, we need to remember them and easily retrieve them from our memory. In the context of human sexuality, some studies have explored gender differences in visual stimuli and sexual arousal. For instance, the study of Rip and Wall in 2007 found that men respond more to visual sexual stimuli and tend to be influenced by the sex of the actor in a sexual scenario. So this means um, this when confronted by an intimate interaction, men would tend to be rather influenced by visual cues, how the other person looks physically or what the other person is wearing. In the same study, on the other hand, women were found to be more influenced by context, although they they too are responsive to be to the sexual content of a visual stimuli. This means that when confronted by an intimate interaction, women tend to be and rather influenced by the nature and relationship they with another person. Is the person someone they know and can trust. And the other studies explored how heterosexual men and women would respond to female film and male film videos, LAN 1994. And to female chosen and male chosen videos, Peterson and Jansen 2007, these studies established that either gender respond more intensely and on material film and chosen by people of similar gender. So, what can we glean from these studies? So, women and men differ in strategies of viewing sexual stimuli. Women tend to pay more attention contextual and non-sexual cues than men. Lan and Ebrard 1995. And those are putting prime on subjective valuing of circumstances. The second senses of sexuality is the olfactory experience. So it means we generally think of auditory experience as the sound we smell. For instance, in a study by Mascarilla Arantes and Consul 2011 explored on the preferred scent among heterosexual and homosexual male and females. The study found that heterosexual females who participated in their study tends to like wearing plural sweet but want musky spicy scent to be worn by their partners. Heterosexual males and homosexual females in their study prepared wearing musky spicy scent and like their partners to wear plural sweet scent. On other hand, homosexual males who join the study themselves and their partners. From scientists have tried to explain how human olfaction influence sexually. They identified two possibilities. First, through what is referred to as signature odor, the unique way that each individual smells, which is associated with the major histocompatibility complex, a set of proteins signaling our immune system the presence of foreign substances, and second is through what is referred to as pheromones, substances potatively excreted by our glands which signals mood and affects social behaviors. Yun lamang po. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I'm Leslie Haliores Correa from BSE2K. I will discuss is all about the tactile experience and the last one is auditory experience. It is the continuation of senses and sexuality. Okay, we are now ready to discuss how the various senses play in a human sexual response. Tactile experience. Touch is served with an element of intimacy. Our body is covered in skin, often referred to as the largest bodily organ. Our skin totally accounts for 16 to 20% of our body weight. It is a sensitive organ as every square inch of it houses more than 1,000 nerve endings. Hence, in social interactions, particularly intimate ones, touch hold meaning. They are only people who we allow to touch us. They are only part of our bodies we allow people to touch. Touching, just like any other behavior, may also be governed by social nerves. As a sensation, touch has some elements. Tactile element pertains to the experience relative to the object being felt. It is rough? Is it smooth? Is the surface hard or soft? Then there is a thermal element. Is it warm or cold? Finally, there is a vibrational element. Is the pressure of the touch strong or weak? Is the sensation moving and pulsating or steady and stationary? Different parts of the human body also have different threshold of tactile experience. Areas such as the mouth, anus, genitals, and nipples are referred to as primary erogenous zones, as they are very sensitive to touch. The back, cheek, neck, and buttocks are secondary erogenous zones, as they are also sensitive to touch, but only supportive of the primary zones in eliciting response. Often, these erogenous zones are areas of the body involved in a reproductive and sexual act. Human touch is essential in social bonds. Often, we only give people we trust the right to have tactile contact with us. It is always a consensual act to touch and be touched. When we touch, our body produces a hormone called oxytocin. It is referred to as the love hormone because it is believed to influence tribal behaviors and maternal bonding. Oxytocin is observed to be produced in vast amounts during nipple stimulation, such as for instance when a mother suckled her newly born. In intimate relationships, touch is suggested to be one of the love languages. A person whose love language is touch to tend to and give and receive tactile stimulation to and from others through holding, hugging, and other forms of physical connections. The last one is auditory experience. Social interactions are not only visual, but are also auditory processes. Our human language often have a verbal counterpart to the written language. In fact, historically, much of our culture are passed through oral traditions, even before the writing system was developed. Sexual activities are also a verbal communication process. Sounds give additional context to the sexual situations. For instance, in sexual interactions, couples may give a verbal erotic encouraged words that triggers sexual response or verbal expression of affection words that manifest feelings. Example, I love you and I miss you. A survey of popular music will show that love and sex are among the common themes of songs nowadays. This only emphasizes the value of sound in human sexuality.